If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life. And I had to start again with just my children and my wife. And thank my lucky stars to be living here today. 'Cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. Yeah. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you when the fair's still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. Yeah, I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Hello, welcome to As the World Fades Away, Season 2. This is going to be Episode 1. We are going to be discussing Angela Rose on the meltdowns. This one's a good one. And if you subscribe to her, you'll hear a lot more than what she has to say. And she's very smart about this whole thing. So, but we're only going to cover a little bit of her videos because we got 4 other videos to cover. So let's get started.
Greatest president in American history just got reelected as president, and woke people are losing their minds about it. Please make sure you guys are subscribed to my channel. So actually, this video originally comes from a guy whose name is Aarko. It's AARKO, and he posted all of the original compilations of these woke meltdowns. I'm going to be reacting to them because many of them are insulting me for voting for Donald Trump. So I'm going to, in a sense, reply to their inspirational messages.
Sense anymore.
Can you
Go
blame
work, you lazy bums. Go get a job. Look, everybody crying. They cut my food stamps. No more food stamps. Go work. Go work.
I dare you to tell me to calm down right now.
Oh, calm down.
Calm down. Uh-oh, I bet she's gonna get angrier, guys. Oh.
Oh my god! Harris did not win.
We'll get to the best part here in a minute. I want you to watch this
Trump.
part.
She looks like a goldfish.
So I'm
Go to the
Take a breath.
Her kids are hyperventilating because this lady has lied to them so much about Donald Trump.
So today may look a little different at school. I'm sure your teachers are going to
Look at the wire. Up there.
Racist, sexist, anti-gay.
They
Keep
live-
telling yourself that, sweetie. The only damage it does is to you. If somebody else is to blame for all of your problems, then maybe you should look inward.
That was good stuff, too.
with ovaries and uteruses, and women and anyone assigned female at birth to not look at men, not talk to men, not entertain men, not look for validation in men, not center their world and their
This girl is literally entertaining men right now.
being and their appearance and their thoughts around men and look.
The weird thing is that when Republicans find out somebody is a Kamala Harris supporter, they simply think, oh, you know, they just watch different news networks. They have different influences, and that's the reason why they think that they do, because, you know, input affects output. What you consume is what you're going to say. It's how you're going to act. And so usually Trump supporters, when they meet Kamala supporters, they're just like, oh, you know, they just watch different kind of news outlets, and that's why they support Kamala. But when Kamala Harris supporters see Trump supporters, they're like, we hate everybody. It's weird that they don't understand the serious and important reasons why people love. I hate watching these videos because honestly at this point I love Donald Trump. I think he is the best president our country has ever had, and these videos are so negative. It's like, get over yourself. Get over yourself.
And I'm fucking crying in my room this morning. My brother gonna come up in here and say, what's wrong with you? Like, he can't think of one possible reason why I would be upset right now, bro.
Like, stop crying then. If you being so upset about the election is so hard for you, then stop. It's that simple.
Yeah,
Black women,
not so hard to do.
you don't owe this country shit. You don't owe this country one fucking thing. Not one fucking thing else. It's time for us to bunker down.
I will not ask you to look for any silver linings. I will not ask you to feel anything but grief right now. Donald Trump won the election, and the consequences will be real and
What are you talking about?
devastating. But I'm reminding myself and you that on the road ahead, there will still be opportunities to fight back.
Honestly,
She tries her best to make it sound educational, doesn't she? Like she's being educational about it. I don't even think she even knew what was going on around this world. Oh, some people never know. Well, let's go to some funny ones. Let me go back to where we were. And, just a little bit. This is actually...
is the worst thing that could happen. As if we need to lower ourselves to the world standard. It's so weird to me. It makes no sense. And it seems really ignorant, honestly.
Your ass, MAGA dude.
Thank you so much. We love you so much.
I don't love you.
But we love you.
I don't love you.
I hope God helps
I do
you.
not want your love. I want you to find yourself in a Princess Diana car accident.
Wow, what a hatred she had for that person. No matter how nice he was, she still turned around and said, I want you to die. Isn't that funny? That's crazy. I would think that's crazy. And I would like to say to that.
Really? But why? We love you.
Yeah, we might.
See, they are so accepting to say, hey, I hope you die. This is the type of behavior that they think is okay. Have they never heard the most basic quote in the world, which is literally what goes around comes around? If they are sending out so much hate to so many American citizens, people who love this country, veterans, people who have fought in wars, people, everyday citizens who are working hard, who go to work every single day or have businesses and really contribute to our economy. They hate normal, everyday people so much, and yet they're confused why they're getting all this hate back. They're saying, America, how could you do this to me? How could you do this to women? You literally are doing it to yourself. All these freakouts that you are having, there's nobody to blame but you.
Personally,
That's so true.
I'm coming for every single straight
Still got schizophrenia. or
man
something.
in my family. Hi. Y'all fucked around and found out, and now this is gonna happen. You're welcome. So I am absolutely, now I'm
Okay, but to speak like that is
Wow.
borderline insanity.
I agree with that.
Insanity. And there gets to be a point where maybe check yourself in. Look for some type of help. Find serious ways to deal with your emotions. Because if you wake up every day not knowing if you're going to have a mental breakdown, it's scary, because these are the people who drive on our roads. These are the people who teach in our schools. And you guys, we need to check our mental health a little bit. If this is how an election makes you react, there's certainly much more problems within than there are outside in the world. If you're talking like this and doing like all these insane things, I feel scared for you.
sure, now I'm positive that the yearly hunting trip that y'all have been having, that my father hosts, that my
I'm
uncle
sorry, the people upstairs
goes
like to
on,
make
that
a
my
lot of
uncles,
noise. You
my
can-
brother,
this camera, this
my cousins that
microphone
are like
picks
my
up everything.
brothers, their friends that have all known me my entire life, that
Why do these freak out videos talk like this? Like they keep pointing towards the camera like, oh, like what are you doing? Speak normally, be human, calm down. Breathe. I actually want to tell you guys about a breathing technique, because after seeing some of these videos, I think that we need it, and it is called the 4-7-8. You breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold it for 7, and then you release out for 8. Let's do just one together to calm down after all of this insanity we're seeing. I'm sorry, but I believe it's necessary. I don't care if it's good for retention. We need a
agree
breather
with
right
that.
now. Okay? Okay, ready? Breathe in for 4. Okay, and if you ever feel like you need to freak out like one of these ladies, because apparently this is what Americans are acting like nowadays, do the 4-7-8 technique 4 times. And I promise it'll help you avoid to act like this insane woman.
claim to love and respect me. Have been having a yearly claim to love and respect women in
I was
general.
going to end
but
it there.
obviously
but
that's bullshit.
I feel like this
I'm
is
gonna
gonna-
be honest, I was
Now, as you can see, that was one from Angela Rose. You can look for her fully on YouTube. She was a very smart lady. She looked at it. She knew what was going on. But now let's see what's going on with the Trump presidency.
Lots of breaking news on the President Trump transition front. The president-elect is picking up more key members of his new cabinet, and some major picks have just been announced. So moments ago, the president-elect revealing that tech mogul Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, and former Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy, also a businessman, will spearhead the Department of Government Efficiency. This is a new thing that Trump has created. The mission of all this is to cut red tape, reduce wasteful spending, and overhaul federal agencies.
Okay, on that one, it is making sense. I mean, what's better than a businessman bring work to the United States? The businessman himself, he knows how to run the business, don't have to manhandle the thing. But that did lighten it up that Elon Musk is involved somehow with this, and that's good, because he is actually I think it was like $160 trillion, from what I've heard, but I forgot where I heard that at, but I have to hear it again. But here we go with inside Trump's decision with picking Matt Garrett, AG, as AG. It'll stated here.
Special election plans are getting underway as President-elect Trump announces more cabinet picks. Florida will have to vote on who will replace Trump nominees. Congressman Mike Waltz Congressman Matt Gaetz. DeSantis is expected to appoint someone to replace Senator Marco Rubio. Meanwhile, Gaetz' nomination for Attorney General is raising eyebrows on Capitol Hill, including from members of his own party. Let's bring in ABC News executive editorial producer John Santucci and ABC News contributing correspondent Rachel Bade for more on that. Rachel, you have some new reporting now about Trump's decision to pick Gaetz to lead the DOJ. What are you learning about that?
Yeah, hey there, Diane. It sounds like it was very much last minute and came out of nowhere, and it surprised even his inner circle. Look, earlier this week, as recently as Monday, Donald Trump had a short list of people he was looking at for Attorney General. He didn't really like any of them. He felt like they weren't showing enough that they...
And why was he doing this? He wanted to make sure his plan worked. So he had to replace somebody. Because the last term, they wasn't working with him too great. They was turning it around. They was trying to do not exactly what he said and stuff like that. And he couldn't have that. So this time he got smart and he hired this guy. So let's see how it works.
They would do basically whatever he wants at the Justice Department, and he was sort of looking for other options. He flies to D.C. yesterday, and on that plane was Matt Gaetz and one of Matt Gaetz' friends, who is also a close ally of Donald Trump. Both of these men have had their own run-ins at the Justice Department, but they made this pitch to Trump that Matt Gaetz was the guy to do it, that he would be the one who could basically clean house there. And it's interesting because Susie Wiles, who was just tapped as chief of staff for Donald Trump, she's sort of seen as this person who, rightly or wrongly, basically restrains Donald Trump from making some more outlandish decisions. She was actually in a different part of the plane when all this went down. She didn't even know it was happening until basically it had all been already worked out. But it's safe to say, Diane, that this surprised his inner circle, but it is a reminder that it's Donald Trump himself who makes these decisions, not his top advisors. He chooses himself.
And John, Gaetz was facing a House ethics investigation into allegations of sexual misconduct and illicit drug use. Now that he's resigned from Congress, the Ethics Committee no longer has jurisdiction to investigate him. So what do we know about whether or not that factored into this decision by Trump to nominate Gaetz?
Hugely. I mean, Rachel, to her credit, had a lot of this reporting first, much of which we've matched now here at ABC, Diane, and that is that because of this investigation, because of the way it was being broken down, the timeline of it, our understanding is that that committee was going to vote in just the next 2 days to actually bring some type of a report to fruition. They've been working on this for months. They've been bringing in witnesses, subpoenaing documents, records. Many women that had relationships with Matt Gaetz had gone before this committee. So that really did have a huge impact on this, because if you think about it, Matt Gaetz has really dodged several bullets. There was a DOJ investigation once upon a time. That went away. Then round 2 was the House Ethics Committee, and they were, for lack of a better phrase, rocking and rolling. They were bringing all these people in. They were getting information. They were releasing some updates that it was a serious investigation, despite the fact that he was not, cooperating and working with them. So I think it's a huge impact. And the fact that it goes away, in theory, though, does it actually go away? Because now you have members that are very angry up on Capitol Hill. And we know Matt Gaetz is not a fan of many Republicans up on Capitol Hill.
So, Rachel, let's talk about that, because many Republican lawmakers, members of Gaetz' own party and Trump's obviously, were caught off guard by this nomination and are speaking out against it. Here's how Alaska Senator Lisa Murkowski reacted to the news.
I don't think it's a serious nomination for the Attorney General. We need to have a serious Attorney General, and I'm looking forward to the opportunity to consider somebody that is serious. This one was not on my bingo card.
Now, Rachel, Republicans will control the Senate, but not by a lot. You only need a few Republicans to vote against him and he doesn't get confirmed, right? So what are the chances that he does actually get confirmed?
Diane, it's actually pretty hard to say, because on the one hand, every Republican I have talked to on Capitol Hill has told me that they think Matt Gaetz doesn't have the professional experience to do this job, let alone the sort of moral compass, the sort of ethical, compass to do what is right. They don't want him leading the Justice Department. But on the other hand, Donald Trump just had a sweeping victory right now, and it takes a lot of guts for a sitting member of Congress, a sitting senator, to go up against him and say they don't want to vote for him. I do think there are a handful of members who would do that. But look, a lot of these people are going to be under tremendous pressure to fall in line. And we have to keep in mind that this is a very different Republican Senate than we saw just, last time he was president. They are more MAGA-minded, they fall in line, and there's not a lot of opposition to him up there.
My note on this is that the fact of the matter is Trump's only got 4 years to do all this. So he's learning fast, and he has to. Because, I mean, in 4 years we got another election. It's going to be a Democrat falling into it. And we don't want it to be broken when they get it. We want it to be fully functional. We want to be at peace and everything else. So that way, the next time the Democrat gets in and all this stuff starts happening, people start realizing it. And that's the thing. We want people to realize the dangers before it's too late. And this is almost done on this video. We're going to go to the third video here in a minute about what he's going to do with immigration.
All right, John Santucci, Rachel Bade, thank you both.
So we're now at the fourth video and the last video of this segment of episode 1. We're going to watch it through and see what happens and see what he says. Here we go.
No tax for our seniors on Social Security because they've been decimated by inflation. But what Kamala did to Jocelyn and her family is the most heartless and cold-blooded betrayal imaginable. Thousands of cases just like that. Thousands. In throwing open the border. Think of it, open borders, they come in from parts unknown. People have no idea who they are.
Yeah, and people are blind to that.
Anything about them. They know nothing. They just walk into our country. And as soon as I heard they were doing that, I said, well, I know these countries. I know every one of the leaders of all these different countries. They're very smart. They're very sharp. They're very streetwise. I said, I know what they're going to do. They're going to open up their jails and just dump them into the United States. And that's what happened. They opened up their jails. And some of the most ruthless killers in the world are now roaming our fields and our streets all over the United States. I knew that was going to happen. And I would do the same thing if I were running one of those many countries that we're talking about. And not just the 3 or 4 that we constantly mention that are near us, all over South America, all over the Middle East, all over Asia, all over Europe, all over Africa. Tremendous numbers of people are coming out of Africa, and they're coming from all over the world. They're dumping them at our border, pushing them across the line, and say, don't ever come back. If you come back, we're going to kill you. And we're stuck with them. But we're not going to be stuck with them for long.
That is true. Thank God.
So Kamala violated her oath. She desecrated our laws, and she got innocent girls like Jocelyn tortured and killed. Anyone who knowingly sets loose these monsters into our country has absolutely no right to be running for office, let alone the office of president. No right.
That's so
So here today is another great person, an American mom, Tammy Nobles. 2 years ago, Tammy's 20-year-old daughter, Kayla Hamilton, who had an autism diagnosis, was found raped, tied up and strangled to death with a telephone cord in her home. Kayla's murderer was an illegal alien, MS-13 gang member, among the most vicious gangs anywhere in the world. I took him out by the thousands thanks to ICE. We're going to protect ICE. Kamala wanted to defund ICE. We didn't have ICE, we'd never get anybody out. They're tough and they're smart and they love our country. But an MS-13 gang member who was apprehended by Border Patrol, but under the policy of our border czar, Kamala, he was released into the United States to kill. Tammy, please come up and say a few words, please. Thank you. Please.
I just wanted to say that Homeland Security did not do their job. Health and Human Services did not do their job. The Biden-Harris administration did not do their job. If they would have done their job, made that one phone call to El Salvador, my daughter would still be alive today. Kayla was a very beautiful young lady inside and out. She was independent, learning to become independent. She had 2 jobs. She overcame obstacles dealing, with autism and was able to find a job that she loved. She loved animals, especially her cat Oreo, and she cared about the homeless. She loved God and she loved going to church. And her life was just ripped from her 3 days after she celebrated her 20th birthday. Thank you for having me here today.
Thank you, Tammy. And we will not forget Kayla. She's looking down. She's very proud of Mom. Kamala's cruel and immoral actions on our border are actually disqualifying, in my opinion. She's unfit.
It should have been disqualified from the beginning.
And she knows this is going on. She never called anybody, including the 13 soldiers that were so needlessly killed in Afghanistan with that horrible moment in time where our country was just lost all respect from the whole world when they saw that. That's one of the reasons that Putin went in. He would have never gone in. Ever he wouldn't have gone in. If I were president, he would have never gone in. I ended his pipeline in Europe, no problem. And what happened? Biden comes in, he proves it right away, but he kills the Keystone Pipeline. Putin never would have come in. And he didn't, by the way, for 4 years. There was never a threat that he was going to do that. But he saw weakness, and I think a lot of it was seen in that horrible period of time. She is also aiding and abetting the cartels, allowing vast quantities of deadly drugs to pour unchecked into our country. And remember this, they now have an app. You call the
That's
app
going to be a
and you
mess to
bring
clean up.
whatever you want, you bring them over, they'll tell you exactly. Can you believe it? They have an app. And they have airplanes, big, beautiful Boeing airplanes flying back and forth over our border. They were saying, where are those planes coming from? Where are they going? They were loaded up with migrants. They're dropping them out in the Midwest. They're dropping them all over the place. And I will tell you, if you look at Aurora in Colorado or in Springfield in Ohio they dropped 32,000 illegal aliens. They tried to give them legal terminology, but it's not. Illegal aliens, 32,000 into a 50,000 person town, beautiful town, no problems. And now they don't know what to do. And they want to be nice, and the mayor wants to be nice. His big thing is to get interpreters, because they don't speak English. It's very hard to get interpreters. And he's trying to get interpreters, but in the meantime, they're taking up the hospital. So when people from Springfield would routinely be able to check with a doctor, go to a hospital, they're unable to get in, they're packed. The whole town has changed, and this is happening all over our country. Aurora probably is an even worse situation because you have the meanest, worst gang from Venezuela in the world, probably, maybe as bad or worse than MS-13. And they've literally taken over the town. They've taken over large sections of the town. They've gone into the real estate business. They've taken over apartment complex. They took over a number of complexes where the people are paying them rent. They've become the landlord. Isn't that nice? And they're rough, tough people, and they have the latest weapons. They have military quality weapons, and everyone's saying, where did they get them? We got to get them out of here. We're going to get them out fast. We're going to get them. So today, I'm announcing that for the first time under my administration, we will be seizing the assets of the criminal gangs and drug cartels. And we will use those assets to create a compensation fund to provide restitution for the victims of migrant crime, and the government will help in the restoration. The government will help in the restitution, but something has to be done, and we're going to get it done. Kamala has also caused untold misery through her destruction of our economy. Our economy is not, this is just, it's like a fake economy. Some of the best people on Wall Street are saying the economy is only good because they think, I don't want to say this because other people have said it. It's not me saying it, but they think Trump is going to get elected. That's the only reason our economy is good. That's the only reason the stock market is up. Scott is here, I think, someplace, and he's one of the most respected people on Wall Street. He's actually made a very big point of it, that the stock market is only doing well because of the fact that they think Trump is going to win the election. So we'll see. But Kamala cast the deciding votes that caused the worst inflation in our lifetime. Maybe the worst inflation we've ever had, because I don't think I know for a fact they're not adding all of the numbers. If they did, I think it's the worst inflation probably in the lifetime of the country. And it's costing typical American families over $30,000. Nearly half of Americans now say they're broke. Think of that. Half of Americans are saying they're broke. They have no money. 2/3 say they're living from paycheck to paycheck, and that's a record. We've never had that. To that extent, we've never, ever had that. Millions of Americans are lying awake at night, worried about how they'll pay their bills because Kamala wrecked their family finances, and she's done that. She's done nothing good. They have done nothing good. And I speak of Kamala, but it's partially Joe, but Joe's out of it, you know. Joe's sort of out of it. He's been out of it for a long time. Now she wants to raise taxes for the typical family by $3,000 a year. She's got no empathy for the hardworking Americans whose dreams she's killed, and said recently that there is not one thing that she would do differently from Biden. That's only because she choked. I'm sure she could have come up with a couple of things if she really thought about it, because there's been so much destruction caused by the Biden administration. One of the things that people don't talk about, and the news never talks about, they don't talk about, as an example, Afghanistan, but this is something that's incredible, because when you think of the numbers, 325,000 children are missing, dead, sex slaves, or slaves. 325,000 children who came in through the open border are now missing. Many of them are dead, and nobody talks about it. I said, this must be a mistake. This can't be possible. When I read it first, I said, this can't be. You're talking about take your largest stadium and fill it up many times. That's what the kind of numbers are. Here today is Michael Copy, a small business owner who runs a dry cleaner and is struggling to get by because of what Kamala has done to his business. They've destroyed small businesses in this country. Michael, please.
Yeah, there is some businesses falling.
I just want to say thank you, Mr. President, for affording me the opportunity and the high honor of joining you here today and sharing my small business story with you folks and the American people. So it's a chain of eco-friendly dry cleaners throughout the Tri-County here in West Palm. And it seems not too long ago, just a few years, the customer and us, the small business owner, we were able to keep up with inflation. There were resources available to us for expansion, or if you had a bad month, you know, if there was something you needed to make up for, it seemed like the support was there. And now, just a few short years later, it seems like all of those resources have dried up. The support's no longer there. We had an expansion plan about 6 years ago that we had to pause because we have to wait for our customers now to catch up with the inflation, the supply chain issues still, because we as a small business, we can't double our price points, although the cost of doing business now is 2, 3, or 4 times what it was just a few years ago. So we've had to get creative. Our industry, probably 30% in the dry cleaning industry, never survived COVID. And just recently this summer, I was contacted, my wife and I, by another local dry cleaner here in West Palm. They were asking advice. It's a husband and wife, been there for about 35 years. Their lease was up, and the landlord was doubling their rent, which would have meant that that's what they've been paying themselves for probably the better part of 20 years. So they had to make a decision. Do they hand the keys back, or do we get creative, work together, pool resources? And so what we did was we figured out the right price point for them, but we did their cleaning for them, at least until we figured it out. And so they were not able to pay their operations. They couldn't keep that going, but they were able to save their business by strategically partnering. And by the end of summer, I think I was contacted by about 12 other local dry cleaners saying, can you guys help us also, because we're going through the same thing. Thank you. And it seems now, so the delta between the reality of what inflation is right now and we have in front of us, the reality of that and the small business owners' capabilities, that delta is too great. So unless we affect change immediately, I fear that in the next few years, if we don't see that change, we might see another 30% of our industry and others no longer exist. So I just want to say thank you again, Mr. President, for allowing me to share my Go Green Dry Cleaners story, and thank you.
Thank you very much. We really helped a lot of people during the prime time of the China virus, and we helped a lot of people, and we did it intelligently. Then when they took over, they just threw money around like it was dirt. And as you know, the recent monster hurricane, Helene, just wiped out so much. If you look at the different states, North Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, Florida, Tennessee, it was just devastating. And the response was the worst since Katrina, but really a lot of people think it was much worse than Katrina. And still, they haven't shown up. They're not in North Carolina. The people of North Carolina have suffered incredibly, and there's just nobody to help them. FEMA has been a total disaster. We had FEMA that was fantastic when we did this, because we had our hurricanes too. We had some bad ones, but we did a great job with it. It's not there, and then you see that they, originally blamed, and then they tried to take it back, but it was a little late. But they said that the money was spent on bringing illegal migrants into our country. They spent close to $1 billion, and these were
I heard that too.
And these were funds that were spent. And you have to say, I was in North Carolina recently, and I looked at devastation that was just, unbelievable. There was nobody there from the federal government. The local people have done incredible things. Franklin Graham has done incredible things. He's been amazing. But there was nobody there. So we're pleased also to be joined by Christy Shamblin, a person I know and I've gotten to know over the last year or so. The mother-in-law of fallen Marine Corps Sergeant Nicole G. Nicole made the ultimate sacrifice during the disastrous withdrawal. Not that we were withdrawing. I was going to withdraw, but we were withdrawing with dignity and strength and power, and we were going to keep Bagram, the big air base, because of the fact that it was so close to where China makes their nuclear weapons, 1 hour away. We should have kept it, and we didn't do that. But the way they withdrew, they took the soldiers out first. No, you take the soldiers out last. I went 18 months without one soldier. I spoke to Abdul, the leader of the Taliban. We went 18 months without one soldier even being shot at, no soldier being killed for 18 months. And then we left, and you had this group of incompetent people take over. Guys like Milley should have been fired. They should have been fired. Anybody that was involved with that disaster should have been fired. She was one of 13 U.S. service members who lost their lives. Kamala said she was the last person in the room, that Kamala was the last person in the room. She was involved in everything. She takes credit for that. She was involved in everything. That means she was involved in disaster after disaster, because nothing good has happened with this administration, except that our country has gone to almost a third world status. with Biden when Biden made a decision, she said she was there. Oh, she was there. But the Afghanistan decision was a disaster in so many different ways. And now you take a look at it, they're right back to what they were doing before, except much worse to women. They're worse to women right now than they were even before it started. But Kamala never reached out to the family members of the warriors. And she said she was going to, but she never did. She never called anybody. And Christy, I'd like you to come up and say a few words, please.
Hi. Good afternoon. Good morning. My name is Christy Shamblin, and my daughter-in-law was Sergeant Nicole Leanne G. And she was killed in the botched Afghanistan exit at Abbey Gate. She was the cornerstone of a very large family. And instead of planning family gatherings and holiday meals, Christmases, and baby showers, our family and thousands of other families plan outings at funeral grave sites. And that is where we as a family celebrate my daughter-in-law at Arlington National Cemetery, because she is in the ground. Her story isn't unique to our family, she's just ours. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of wounded veterans who came home from that war, who need our help and who are ignored by our current administration. President Trump demonstrates peace through strength. I know what he told the Taliban when he was negotiating with them, because I've made it my business to know. And what he said to them when he was negotiating with the Taliban, he said, "I will kill you if you harm one hair on one head of an American." President Trump shows up, he reaches out, and he can fix our country, and we can all heal together.
Thank you very much. It's so sad. So many cases like this. Nobody should have died. First of all, when they left, the soldiers should have been there. They shouldn't have been home watching, except for a small group, and many of them got killed, and in large numbers. Nobody ever mentions the arms, the legs missing, gone, the face just obliterated. Nobody talks about them. I talk about them all the time. But I want to thank you, Christy, and we'll carry Nicole's memory in our hearts forever. The full consequences
This is where
of
it gets good.
Kamala's 4-year reign are almost too terrible to discuss or contemplate. We're coming to the end of a great campaign. I think we've had a great campaign. We've really not been provided the kind of protection that I needed as president, but I said we have to do it anyway. When Secret Service would ask for additional people, oftentimes we would be turned down. They were constantly asking for additional people. And I found Secret Service to be very brave. When I was hit and went down, they were right on top of me within seconds. I tell you what, those bullets were flying right over my head. I heard them. And these guys were right. I don't know how they didn't get hit, actually, but they were right there. You take a look at the video. One thing we would say, the video is there for people to see, but they were never given the kind of help that they requested, because our rallies were massively large and they needed more people, and they were always fighting for more people, and it was never given to them. Now they're being given, I hope, what they need, but that was a constant fight. They'd come to me and they'd say, you guys don't want to give us the people. And yet Biden was covered, and they'd have like 2 people show up. But Kamala is grossly incompetent, a total train wreck who has destroyed everything in her path. She's destroyed everything. She left 21 million aliens pour across our country, and then she, maybe in a short while has to go home and she'll get herself a job someplace, who knows. But think about it, and she can look at the carnage, and she can look at all the people that have been killed. And you haven't seen anything yet because they've just started. They're just getting comfortable in our country. These are very tough people. These criminals make our criminals look like nice people. And she let the more than 13,000 convicted illegal aliens, nobody would have let these people into our country. And remember, they came out of the worst prisons in the world, the meanest, nastiest prisons in the world. And when she says that she wouldn't do anything different, does that mean that she would have let 325,000 migrant children probably die, most of them, many of them? But at a minimum, they're slaves or they're sex slaves. And they're all over the country. Does that mean that she wouldn't have changed that? Does that mean that she wouldn't have changed so many of the other things that led to so much death and destruction and even financial destruction of our country itself? We could end up in a depression because of what she's left with us. They are the worst combination president, vice president in the history of our country. And I often say Jimmy Carter's a happy man because his administration, by comparison, was totally brilliant. It was brilliant. After Kamala endorsed defunding the police, she bailed out rioters, looters, and murderers, took them right out of jail during the violent crimes in the United States. Remember, that was in Minnesota. Minneapolis was burning down, it was burning to the ground. I watched the CNN announcer say, this is a friendly group of people, and over his shoulder, the entire skyline was burning. I've never seen it, but that's the fake news. But violent crime in the United States is up 37%. All of these different crimes are up anywhere from 37 to 105% over a very short period of time. And it's almost like nobody even cares about it. Very simply, Kamala Harris is not fit to be your president. We can't have it happen. We can't have it happen. We're going to make this country strong again. We're going to make it great again. We're going to be respected again.
Exactly what we want.
Message of hate and division, and my message is about saving our economy, securing our border, bringing together the greatest and broadest coalition in American history. There's never been a coalition like this. Everybody's included. And on issue after issue, she broke it. They broke it together. But for purposes of this election, she broke it. Can't let her go. And I'm going to fix it, and I'm going to fix it very fast. And on the illegal, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Here it is.
On the illegal immigrants that will be taken out of the country, as you know, we're going to be taking them out. And if they come back, we have laws that will be immediately enacted where they serve 10 years in prison, they won't come back, and if that's not long enough, we'll have to do something else. But we don't want them back. They're not going to come back. And as you know, we're asking for the death penalty for any migrant who comes into our country and kills an American citizen or a police or law enforcement person. Because we have to protect our police. Our police are under siege. To recruit. And really for not just the danger, it's hard to recruit because they don't have the spirit anymore for our country because they're being led with people that are spiritless. They really are spiritless. They can't instill spirit. But so that's any citizen, they get killed, it's a death penalty, and that includes police or law enforcement officers. Revive our economy. We're going to use a system of very fair, very reasonable tariffs. As I said, so powerful. We've never used them. I used them. China paid us hundreds of billions of dollars, and no other president's gotten 10 cents from China. China had a free ride, but so did many other countries. European Union is taking advantage of us. They don't take our product, and yet we take their product all over the place. We take their farming product, we take their cars left and right? BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen, millions and millions. They don't take our cars. I said to Angela Merkel at the time, Angela, how many Chevrolets do we have in Berlin? Why? I don't believe you have any. I said, you're right about that, Angela. Well, we're going to change it. But they don't take our product. We have a deficit with them of over $300 billion. Think of that. And people think of them as friendly, but they're very tough and very fair. I mean, look, they united in order to take advantage of the United States. That's why they united. That's why they formed their coalition. And
so he's going to take care of the immigrants. He's going to make sure they're out of here. And you heard him what he said. If they come back, it's 10 years in prison. If they kill somebody, it's the death penalty. That's a good thing. And socializing with other countries and getting tariffs like from China and all that. It's going to be great for us too, because we're supposed to be working with people too in a way where world peace would actually happen. So we're correlating with each other. But that's a good thing. This is going to be the end of the video. I just wanted to end it with him actually saying what he's going to do with the immigrants and everything. And it looks like it's going to be turning out to be a strong nation. And my strongest thing is follow this person here too. See what she says. She comes up with a lot of videos. I mean, she does really good on her podcast. And actually, let's see what this woman was about ready to say at the end of this whole thing.
Very blindsided by the results this morning.
I'm gonna be honest, I was really blindsided.
I've decided that cigarettes don't count today, and I honestly might go get a tattoo. But I also have decided that for the next 4 years, I am going to abstain from Schmex with...
Good for you.
I'd say that's good for her, but I mean, basically she is not there or something's wrong with her. But just because he lost it. But this is all going on the lies that's been told by the Biden administration against Trump. I mean, everything they tried to do against Trump is basically what it is. And that's what caused all this. It's what caused all the meltdowns. It's caused all the going crazy. It's because propaganda of what Harris and Biden had done. But we're fixing all that. We're going to get strong again, and it'll be all right. This is the end of episode 1. It will be up and uploaded soon. Thank you. And please like and subscribe.